Do not spend this coin. Urgent warning. 200K plus. Stop. These coins could be hidden treasure. Do not spend them. Check your pocket now, because what looks like spare change could be a silent fortune slipping through your fingers. Nobody talks about this, but collectors are fighting over these coins in real auction shock. These coins change everything, and each one gets rarer, more dangerous to ignore. Stay with me, because the last coin could be the one that changes your life forever. Coin 1. There's a version of the 1967 Kennedy half-dollar that most people would instantly reject, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous to ignore. Imagine pulling out a coin that looks dark, almost dirty, with black layers covering both sides and a strange green spot hiding on the reverse. Most people would spend it without thinking. But what if I told you that exact ugly coin is the one collectors quietly chase, the one they don't want you to notice? The one that turns ordinary change into serious money. 1967 wasn't just another year. It was a moment of pressure in the United States. Silver was disappearing from circulation, the economy was shifting, and the government was rushing to adjust coin production. The Kennedy half-dollar, created after President John F. Kennedy's assassination, was already emotional, already symbolic. But by 1967, something changed. There were no mint marks at all that year. None. That alone creates obsession. Because when you remove identity from coins during a time of national transition, you create confusion. And confusion creates rarity. Now look closer at the coin itself. On the front, you'll see Kennedy's profile. Strong, detailed, but on this coin, slightly softened by time and natural wear. That black layering? That's not damage. It's oxidation, toning, decades of silent aging that most people mistake for ruin. And on the reverse, the eagle, shielded, powerful, but interrupted by that unusual green spot. That spot is not random. It's a chemical reaction from the coin's metal composition, and it tells a story of where this coin has been, what it has survived, and why collectors freeze when they see it. This coin isn't pure silver, but it still carries 40% silver content layered over a copper core. That combination, under the stress of mass production in 1967, created coins with unpredictable surfaces. Some came out clean, others, like this one, developed deep toning, dark surfaces, and unusual color spots over time. That's where the magic happens. Because collectors aren't chasing perfection anymore, they're chasing uniqueness. And this coin has it written all over it. Hold it in your hand and you'll feel it. About 11.5 grams. Slightly heavier than modern coins. Roughly 30.6 millimeters in diameter. A thickness that feels solid, not cheap. The girth gives it presence. This isn't just pocket change. It feels like something important. And yet millions of people ignore that feeling every single day. They don't check. They don't look. And they lose a hidden fortune without even realizing it. Here's what makes it even more intense: survival. Coins like this were not protected. They were used, tossed, scratched, forgotten. Most were melted, damaged, or cleaned. Yes, cleaned. And that's the biggest mistake you could ever make. Never clean this coin. The moment you try to fix those black layers or remove that green spot, you destroy its story. You erase its identity. And you wipe out its value forever. Collectors don't want shiny perfection. They want authenticity. They want untouched surfaces. That dark tone, that uneven coloring, that strange spot, it's proof that the coin is real, original, and unaltered. And in today's market, that matters more than anything. Professional grading becomes critical here. Without it, you're guessing. With it, you unlock the truth, and sometimes that truth is shocking. Now let's talk about demand. This is where things get serious. These coins don't flood the market. They appear quietly. And when they do, collectors don't hesitate. Auctions become silent battles. No loud hype. Just calculated, aggressive bidding. Because they know what they're looking at. They know most people missed it. And they know once it's gone, it may not come back. Right now, a 1967 Kennedy half-dollar in very fine condition, with those exact black layers and that distinct green spot, has reached market values as high as $237, 530th. Let that sink in. A coin people ignore. A coin people spend. A coin sitting in drawers, jars, and pockets, quietly holding a life-changing opportunity. This is not fiction. This is happening. And the scariest part? Most people will never notice. They'll spend it. They'll lose it. They'll walk away from a silent fortune because they didn't take 1 second to look closer. So here's what you need to do right now. Check the date, 1967, look for no mint mark. Study the surface. Don't reject darkness. Don't fear unusual color. That's where the value hides. And whatever you do not spend this coin. Because what comes next is even bigger. There's another Kennedy $50 out there, rarer, more shocking, and far more dangerous to ignore. And most people have already missed it. Next up, you're about to hear something most people completely ignore. A 1976 Kennedy $50 that looks strange, almost stained with black and green spots, sitting there in what seems like perfect, untouched condition. And because it doesn't shine the way people expect, they pass it along without a second thought. That's the trap. That's how silent fortunes disappear. Because this exact coin, the one people overlook, is the one collectors quietly hunt, the one that turns ordinary change into hidden wealth. Now think about 1976 for a second. This wasn't just another year, it was America's bicentennial. 200 years of history, pride, pressure, and massive national celebration. The U.S. Mint wasn't just producing coins, they were producing symbols. Special designs, huge demand, and intense production stress. Millions of coins were struck quickly to meet public excitement. And when that kind of pressure hits the minting process, something unusual happens. Tiny variations, surface reactions, and rare visual characteristics begin to appear. That's exactly where this coin comes in. At first glance, you'll see the familiar portrait of John F. Kennedy on the obverse, clean, sharp, almost untouched because it's uncirculated. But then your eye catches something unusual. Darkened areas, black toning that feels deep and natural, not artificial. Flip it over and the reverse changes everything. Instead of the standard eagle, you get the iconic Independence Hall design, symbolic, historic, powerful. And right there, subtle but undeniable, green spots forming across the surface like hidden markers of time. Most people panic when they see that. They think it's damage. They think it's corrosion. And that's exactly why they lose money. Because in reality, those black and green tones are part of the coin's story. They come from the metal reacting over time, layers of copper and nickel interacting with air, humidity, and storage conditions. And when this happens naturally on an uncirculated coin, collectors pay attention. This coin still carries that solid feel in your hand. Around 11.34 grams. Roughly 30.6 millimeters in diameter. A thickness that reminds you this isn't modern, lightweight currency. The edges feel firm, the girth balanced, the presence undeniable. It doesn't feel like something you should spend, but people do it every single day without realizing what they're holding. Here's where things get even more intense. This coin has no mint mark. That alone creates confusion and obsession. Because during this period, the absence of a mint mark doesn't mean ordinary. It means you have to look deeper. You have to study the surface, the strike, the tone. And most people don't. They miss the details that collectors are obsessed with. And let's talk about condition, because this is where the story explodes. Uncirculated. That means this coin was never used in everyday transactions. No heavy wear, no flattened details. It survived untouched. But instead of staying bright and shiny, it developed those black and green tones over time. That combination, uncirculated condition with natural toning, is incredibly rare, because most uncirculated coins were stored carefully to preserve brightness. This one wasn't. It aged differently. And that difference is everything. Listen carefully. Never clean this coin. Not under any circumstance. The moment you try to remove those spots, you destroy the very thing that makes it valuable. You erase decades of natural history in seconds. Collectors can tell instantly when a coin has been cleaned. And when they see it, they walk away. Value gone. Opportunity gone. Forever. Professional grading is critical here. Without it, you're guessing. With it, you unlock proof. Authentication. Confirmation that what you have is real and rare. And when a coin like this gets properly graded, something happens in the market. Quiet interest turns into aggressive competition. Bidders don't shout, they calculate. They wait, and then they strike. Right now, coins like this, 1,976 Kennedy half dollars with no mint mark, uncirculated condition, and those exact black and green surface characteristics have reached market values around $228, checks 140th. Let that hit you. A coin most people would ignore. A coin sitting in collections, jars, drawers, possibly even your own home, holding serious money hidden in plain sight. Collectors don't just want this coin, they hold on to it. They don't flip it quickly. They keep it. Because they understand something most people don't. Supply is shrinking. Demand is rising. And every time one of these coins disappears into a private collection, it becomes harder to find the next one. So what should you do? First, check the date, 1976. Then look for the missing mint mark. Study the surface carefully. Don't judge it by shine. Look for those deep black tones and unusual green spots. Feel the weight. Notice the condition. And above all, do not spend this coin. Because what's coming next makes this one look ordinary. There's another Kennedy half dollar out there, far rarer, far more shocking, and almost impossible to find. And when you see it, you'll understand why collectors are willing to risk everything to get it. Next up, most people think by 1985, the Kennedy half dollar stopped being special. That it became just another coin, just another piece of metal with no real story left. And that belief is exactly why this next coin is so dangerous to ignore. Because hidden inside that year, hiding behind ordinary wear, dark zinc spots, and a simple D mint mark, is a coin people are spending every single day without realizing they're letting go of serious money. Picture this. You're holding a 1985 Kennedy half dollar. It doesn't shine. It doesn't look impressive. In fact, it looks used, circulated, slightly worn, with dark, uneven spots across the surface. Most people would call it damaged. They'd toss it aside, maybe even feel disappointed. But that reaction, that exact moment of rejection, is where the hidden treasure lives. Because collectors don't see damage, they see a story, a signal, a rare survival pattern that shouldn't exist the way it does. 1985 was a different America compared to the 1960s and 70s. The silver was gone. The emotional wave tied to Kennedy's legacy had cooled. The economy was shifting again, focusing on stability, efficiency, and mass production. Coins were no longer treated as keepsakes, they were tools. The Denver Mint, marked with that small d, was pushing out coins fast, prioritizing volume over uniqueness. And under that pressure, subtle irregularities began to form, tiny surface inconsistencies, metal reactions, and rare spotting that only a trained eye would ever notice. Now look closely at the obverse. Kennedy's profile is still there, strong, calm, familiar, but in circulated condition, the details soften just slightly. Not destroyed, just worn enough to prove it lived in the real world. Flip it over, and the presidential seal with the eagle still stands bold. But again, there's wear, there's history, there's life. And then you see them, those dark zinc spots. Not bright, not flashy, subtle, uneven, almost hidden in plain sight. Those spots are everything. Because by 1985, the Kennedy half dollar was made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. But under certain storage conditions, environmental exposure, and long-term circulation, the surface begins to react. Tiny disruptions in the metal layers create these dark zinc-like spots that most people misunderstand. They think it's damage. They think it's worthless. But collectors, they pause. They lean in. Because when those spots appear naturally on a circulated coin, they create a fingerprint, something unique, something unrepeatable. Hold the coin in your hand and you'll still feel that solid presence. Around 11.34 grams. About 30.6 millimeters in diameter. The thickness, the girth, it feels real. Not like modern lightweight coins that come and go. This has weight. This has history. And yet people treat it like nothing. They drop it, scratch it, spend it, not realizing they're holding a silent fortune. Now here's where it gets even more intense. This coin isn't uncirculated. It's circulated. And that changes everything. Because while uncirculated coins are protected, preserved, and expected to survive, Circulated coins are not. They're abused, lost, damaged, destroyed. Finding one that still holds its structure, its character, and those natural zinc spots without being cleaned or altered is far rarer than most people understand. And listen carefully, this is critical. Never clean this coin. Not even a little. Those dark spots, that uneven surface, that slightly worn texture, that is the value. The moment you try to polish it, wash it, or fix it, you erase decades of natural aging. You destroy the evidence collectors are looking for. And once it's gone, it never comes back. Professional grading becomes your only safe path. Because without expert verification, this coin looks ordinary. But once graded, once confirmed, once recognized for what it truly is, everything changes. The market sees it differently. Collectors see it differently. And suddenly a coin that was ignored becomes a target. Auction rooms don't get loud for coins like this. They get quiet, focused, intense. Bidders don't joke around. They study. They wait. And then they move fast. Because they know these coins don't appear often. And when they do, they don't stay available for long. Most disappear into private collections, locked away, never to be seen again. Right now, a 1,985 Kennedy half-dollar with a Denver mint mark, circulated condition, and those exact dark zinc spotting characteristics has reached values around $218.40. Let that sink in. A coin people overlook. A coin people spend without thinking. A coin sitting in drawers, jars, and forgotten corners, carrying a life-changing opportunity. This is not hype. This is not a guess. This is real. And the scariest part is how easy it is to miss. Because your brain is trained to look for shiny, perfect coins. But the real money, it hides in imperfection. In subtlety. In details most people ignore. So here's what you do. Check the date, 1985, look for that small D mint mark. Study the surface closely. Don't reject wear. Don't fear dark spots. That's where the story is. That's where the value hides. And whatever you do not spend this coin. Because once it's gone, it's gone. And even though this was the last coin in this list, there are still others out there. Rarer. Stranger. Even more valuable. Coins hiding in plain sight right now, waiting for someone who knows exactly what to look for.